We need to talk about what we're seeing with this government shutdown again, because we're seeing a lot, starting with a federal judge blocking Trump from firing thousands of federal workers during the shutdown, at least for now. And that because on the first day of the shutdown, labor unions representing more than 800,000 federal workers sued the Trump administration over its plan to use the shutdown to conduct mass firings of government employees. Right? And they argued that Trump's actions were illegal and exceeded his authority as president. And so the unions, they asked the judge to temporarily block the layoffs that have already been announced and to stop Trump from making any future layoffs while the case plays out in court. And then you had the judge granting that request, saying that she believed that the unions were likely to win their argument that Trump acted illegally and exceeded his authority in making those cuts. And actually, in her ruling, she took aim at Trump's actions and claimed at one point that his administration has, quote, taken advantage of the lapse in government spending and government functioning to assume that all bets are off, that the laws don't apply to them anymore, and they can impose the structures that they like. I mean, the judge also explicitly pointing out the fact that Trump has repeatedly said that the federal layoffs will target Democrats. So with that, arguing that his threats indicate that his actions are just driven by politics. But of course, that brings us to the question of, well, will Trump actually obey this court order? Which really, I mean, what a time. I mean, it used to be unthinkable that a president would just go, the law? Did you forget who you're dealing with? But now, right, that's a sentence I end up saying every time a judge issues any kind of decision against Trump. And already the administration has indicated that they're just going to violate the court order. I mean, literally, right after the ruling came down, you had OMB director Russell Vaught going on the Charlie Kirk show and saying that the administration could lay off around 10,000 workers in total during a shutdown. Which, I mean, that alone is a standout update because that's way more than the roughly 4,000 employees that the White House announced that it was firing late last week. And then, all the while this is playing out, nothing's really changed in Congress. Republicans and Democrats are still locked in this fierce stalemate, and both parties, they're still locked in a battle to pin the blame on one another. And actually, regarding the argument and debate, you had Bernie Sanders and AOC holding a CNN town hall yesterday. And one of the things you saw when they were taking questions from the audience is that they continued to point fingers at Republicans. They were both accusing Republican leadership of just refusing to even get on the phone and have negotiations with Democrats. And at one point, I mean, you saw this interaction between Bernie and a Republican college student who had been selected to ask a question.
How do you think this shutdown reflects on Chuck Schumer's leadership?
Well, I think it reflects more on Mike Johnson's leadership and President Trump's leadership. This is a leadership which said it's okay to give well, how do you feel? You tell me. Think it's a good idea to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the richest people in the country and then make massive cuts to healthcare for working class people?
I think Chuck Schumer has voted for continuing resolutions 13 times in the last 4 years, and he has the opportunity to vote for one again, but he's refusing to come to the table.
Well, I think, look, as I have said, there are 53 Republicans in the Senate, correct?
Yes.
They need 60. What does that mean? It means you have to talk to the other side. Mike Johnson is not talking. John Thune is not talking. President Trump is not talking. That is the problem.
And actually, right after that, you had the town hall host, CNN anchor Caitlin Collins, tossing another Schumer-related question over to AOC.
Can I ask you, Representative Ocasio-Cortez, on that? Because we actually heard from House Speaker Mike Johnson today on Chuck Schumer. He said he's supporting the shutdown to prevent a primary challenge from his left wing. Do you think that's what's driving Senator Schumer here?
No, absolutely not. It's such an insane suggestion. And in fact, it speaks to how desperate they are.
Right, and then also with this topic, you had Bernie Sanders kind of jumping in, going like, what are we talking about?
But are you saying that Senator Schumer should not be worried about a primary challenge from you?
I mean,
All right.
no.
Let me jump in on this one. This is what
we're talking about.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
This is what we're
You have a
talking
country
about.
that is falling apart. We had a housing crisis, a healthcare crisis, an education crisis, massive income and wealth inequality, a corrupt campaign finance system, and the media says, oh, you're going to run. What are you going to run for? Nobody cares. She'll run more time.
Nobody cares.
It's the House Speaker and President Trump and the Vice President saying it.
Right.
Pardon?
Well, of course, they're saying it to deflect attention away from the real issues.
Exactly.
Right, and then regarding the actual issues at hand here, there was this very interesting interaction around healthcare and how things are going to affect Trump voters and how we should think about it.
On the issue of healthcare, a lot of the clinics and hospitals that are negatively affected the most under the One Big Beautiful Bill are located in rural, mostly Republican areas. A lot of the increases in Affordable Care Act premiums that Democrats are fighting to prevent are concentrated in more rural Republican areas. If the Republicans are so insistent on sticking it to their own voters on this issue, why don't the Democrats just let them?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think Alexandria touched on this before, and that is, we are, one of the things, and this really annoys me about Trump, he's dividing this country. Why would I not You know, when we hit the road, we were in Idaho, right? It's the most conservative state in America, I think. We had many thousands of people coming out. We are Americans. What, you think I would feel okay if somebody in a Republican state died because they couldn't get health care? I would hope not. I would hope nobody feels that way.
And I think it also speaks to a big difference between someone like Trump and someone like me or someone like Bernie, which is that Trump believes that if you don't vote for him, he doesn't have to be your leader. That if you didn't vote for him, that you don't deserve good things to happen to you. I don't care if someone voted for me or not. I don't care if someone is a Republican or an independent or a Democrat. I don't care if someone likes me or not. That will never change the fact that I'm going to fight for them to have health care. I want MAGA to have health care. I want MAGA to be paid a living wage. But he doesn't want people who are Democrats, or he doesn't want people based on their political affiliation to benefit. And that is the difference between a strongman and an authoritarian and a leader of a democracy.
Right, you also had AOC hitting on similar themes throughout the entire town hall.
The problem is that this administration, the Trump administration, folks like Russ Vought, they think that destroying our health care, making sure that housing is too expensive to live in, that jacking up the costs of our groceries, they think all of this is about hurting Democrats. What they are doing is hurting Americans, and they are hurting this country. And if Mike Johnson wants to say that this shutdown is going to last a long time, it is because he is choosing to punish the American people, and we cannot stand for it, and we cannot allow it. And we also cannot enable it by acquiescing and enabling the behavior of bullies. So it ends today.
Right, but then also on the other side of this, as the town hall was taking place, you had the White House's rapid response account live tweeting the whole thing. With the account slamming and mocking both AOC and Bernie, while also pushing the same Republican talking points that we've seen over and over again, trying to blame the Democrats for the shutdown. But ultimately, for right now, we're still in this waiting cycle. The government is shut down. You have tons of Americans wondering when or if they're going to get a paycheck. Of course, there's the healthcare of it all. You know, a lot of it ends up feeling like, as people feel more pain points, like where does the polling go on this? Does it apply political pressure? We'll have to wait to see.